Are you a homestead mom that's trying to get everything done and just wondering how someone else does it? Today, we're actually going to have a pretty chill chit chat about how my life structure is kind of playing out right now in the season of life that I am in, and some tricks and just some little tidbits that I have picked up that will hopefully help you. Maybe you can apply some of that, but if not, just enjoy listening to the chaos that is my life. Welcome to Simply Living Homestead, where we empower homesteaders and preserve traditions. I'm your host, Amanda Carlin, and I help homesteading families bring peace and order to their lives. My friend, are you overwhelmed with all the tasks on your homestead? Do you wish for a mentor to guide you through the tough moments each day? Then you've come to the right place. Together, we will learn to organize our homestead, love our families well, and walk in the peace of God. If you're ready to get unstuck from the constant feeling of overwhelm, then join us each week as we explore practical advice, inspiring stories, and heartfelt encouragement to help you thrive. Let's grow a sustainable, meaningful life together, both in the home and on the homestead. Welcome back to the homestead. This episode was actually requested by one of our listeners, Cherish, who wanted a peek behind the curtain on how I structure my days. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to kind of just go through the day, and on the homestead, there's a lot of things that happen the same every single day, every single week, forever and into an eternity. There's a lot of things that, depending on how you choose to structure your life, can maybe come in seasons. I've talked about in a previous episode about seasons and how that plays a part in what maybe I'm doing specifically during that time. But the day itself is pretty stable. I do have ADHD, and it is something that, it's not a disability for me, but it does contribute, I guess, to how I structure my life. And so one of those things is that I really do need structure or I can't get anything done. However, if I have too much structure, I don't do it because I'm bored and I don't want to. I really do run in seasons. I love the homestead because seasons really helps me, I can focus on something and then I can move on to the next really cool thing. The thing I have been learning to do is finish the thing I'm working on when I first start. So, just a few things to keep in mind. What does my day look like? So let's jump right in. Well, there is what do we want to call it? There's the perfect idea in your head, like the optimal, this is what I want it to be. And then there's the realistic. So I want to get up at 5. We haven't been going to bed in time to get up at 5, so I ain't getting up at 5. I'm doing good if I'm getting up at 6. Frankly, a lot of times it's 6:30. Let's just be honest. So ideally, I am up by 6. All right, I'm going to stop saying that because this whole day is going to kind of be structured like that, where ideally I want to be up by 5 so that I can have Bible study and, a really smooth get ready routine and all of these sort of things. A lot of times that isn't happening. We've had a late night, or right now Emerson is struggling with going to sleep. And so then it's just so late by the time we get to bed. But, in the morning, I will get up, and this is part of that, structure that I've added to my life, where you get dressed, you eat breakfast, you do your hair without fail every single day. And that really helps me then just get going. If you leave your hair down or undone, for me, it's kind of I once read a cleaning lady's blog that said, you have to get up and put your shoes on. Even if you have house shoes, so you're not tracking mud everywhere, you have to get up and put your shoes on, because it it signals to you that you are ready to do things. And that is what getting up and doing my hair does for me. So I will get up, I will get myself ready for the day, and then I will spend a little tiny bit of time. Sometimes I'll answer emails. Let's just be honest. Sometimes I'll sit down and I'll do a little work. Other times I will play like 15, 20 minutes of a computer game. Or I will be like reading my Bible. Ideally, I get my Bible reading in as well as that. Realistically, shame on me. So when we are all done, Emerson is still sleeping. So it's about 7 in the morning at this point, and I go out to do chores. Chores consist of getting all my milking supplies together, going out to the barn, putting out feed, bringing the cows in, cleaning them down, washing them, feeding the bottle calves, letting the chickens out, feeding the chickens, bringing the milk back in, packaging it all up, and getting all the dishes done, all the milk out into the fridge, that sort of thing. That is a section called morning chores. Now, the thing I forgot to mention is that I follow a routine set up by Chelsea Joe from chelseajoe.co. It is the thing that has made it possible for me to actually understand how my life is working. So a year ago, this is not what my life looked like. Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, it did. It kind of did look like this. But the fact that I can sit down and say this happens at this time in this block is really attributed to her. So I have 6 blocks. She teaches a 5-time block method. I do 6. And the reason I do 6 is because I have made a separate block for chores because it's its own thing. And I do want to do a whole episode on just a real high level of what she teaches because I love it so much. But I'd love to get her on. Don't know that she would, but it'd be fun. Anyway, so she has the morning routine, which is that first one that I described to you. Then she has an AM routine. And in between those 2 routines, I have stuck something called my chore routine. So the chore block. And the chore block basically is from the time I leave the house, do all of my chores, and come back in. That is my chore block. So I quickly ran through what was in that chore block. I would love to make a video at some point to kind of show it because I'm not sure what all I can tell you. Just, blessing your ears about how I'm doing that. I am milking 5 cows, and we milk them twice a day. They are providing, like, 1 cow is giving me 9 gallons, 1 is giving me 7 or 8 gallons, another one is giving me 7 gallons, and then my 2 heifer cows are giving me around 3 gallons a piece right now. I honestly think they'll go up next year. That has been kind of crazy. Everyone said that, a cow will go up in production, in the 2nd year of lactation. I didn't realize it was going to double. So all 3 of my cows from last year doubled their production, which has been kind of insane. We have a lot of milk. And I've been learning to make cheese and cottage cheese and sour cream, and it has been a lot of fun actually having so much milk that I kind of have to do something with it now. And that's really crazy to say as someone who's like a dairy producer, that I'm like, oh, I'm finally making things with my own milk, but here we are. So I do my morning routine. Then we enter the AM routine, the AM block. And AM block consists of getting Emerson up and making sure that, he often gets up before I am quite done with the chores. And he'll come out in his night clothes, or when it's wintertime, he'll like stay inside, and sometimes he plays on his tablet, sometimes he like plays with some toys, or he'll come out and hang out with me in the barn, and I'll carry him around the barn as I'm doing my chores, like whatever is necessary. Sometimes the end of morning chore block and the beginning of AM routine block kind of overlap because he has gotten up and I need to get him breakfast. So I will stop in between after I've packed my milk and I still have like my dishes to do. I will stop there and get him ready for the day and then go back and do my dishes. So after he's up and he's off playing, tooling away, that's when I start my house tasks. I will try and make sure that my kitchen is just cleaned up from breakfast, that my table is cleaned off, that the house is reset. Sometimes I'll do some cleaning at that point. I hate cleaning, and to be completely honest, I need to do it again because I keep putting it off because I just don't want to do it at this point. But then I'll if I have time, this is 9, 10 in the morning. It takes me 2.5 or 3 hours to do chores, depending on how focused I am. Sometimes it can feel like it really takes me a long time. So, 10 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning, I'm, getting ready. We'll have lunch here in an hour and a half, 2 hours. And, well, what do I do? So, like I said, I could do some of the house chores or whatever. Oftentimes in the middle of the summer, though, I will go out and I will do some farm projects. So farm projects really consist of, I'm doing fencing. I am cleaning out water tanks. I am putting sawdust down in bedding areas. I am cleaning out the chicken house. Right now on my list, I have banned the chickens, which is to put a little bracelet around their legs to help tell them apart from other chickens. I need to clip my chickens' wings. They keep flying over the fence, and I honestly think they're laying their eggs outside of the fence. I was getting 4 dozen a day. I am now getting 1.5. It stinks a lot. Anyway, so I will work on some of those things. I will go out and work in my garden while it's still cool-ish in the morning. By the middle of the afternoon, it's so hot in the summer. I do not want to be in the garden. So I'll go out and I'll work in the garden before lunchtime. Just kind of do things. A lot of times Emerson will come along, or he'll be with me for a little bit before he goes off to play. And just trying to include him in what we're doing. Then we have lunch. And that's the end of our AM routine, our AM block. Then the fourth block for me, the third one that Chelsea teaches, is the work block. The work block is one of those things where, if you are working on a business or you are working on something very specific that is bigger than yourself, maybe you are working for someone else. Maybe you are building your own business like I am. This would be the block that you put all of that time in, and you kind of draw this line, and my therapist described it to me first, and then Chelsea didn't use the same language, but she basically reiterated it. You're clocking in. If you was to work for someone else, you would punch that time clock because you want to be paid for that, and then you would focus, and you would just do work things, and then when you're done, you clock out, and when you clock out, you're done. And that is my goal. I have been doing a terrible job at that recently. I am working on pushing out a whole bunch of new stuff for the dairy and making everything all the back ends. It's a whole mess. But, so I have not been keeping a good hard line, and it's starting to affect the family a little bit. And so I am realizing that, and I need to pull that back in and go, here's my hard line. Here's my hard line. So work block is usually about 3 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. That's what it's supposed to be. So I start, work block between 12 and 1, and then I will stop around 3:30 with my work block. When I am done with my work block, I will jump immediately into another chore block. So I guess I should say the other thing I try and do in the morning is lay out anything that I need to make for lunch or for supper. That helps my PM block go a lot smoother if I can do that. So in my work block, I'm answering emails. I am putting out marketing material. I'm recording this podcast. I'm setting up everything behind the podcast. Here in the next couple of months, I will probably be doing some coaching and some just things to assist people. I'm answering emails and phone calls of people going, hey, I tried this thing and it's not working. Do you have any input? And, right now I've not really been charging for that, but that's part of the growth idea of my business, is to start some coaching, start making some classes and some courses. So, I've been just spending all of my time trying to structure some of that and get in front of more people so that they can hear this podcast more. So about 3:30 in the afternoon, I've finished up my work block and I jump into another chore block, which looks almost identical to the morning chores, except that I don't do any of the chicken chores. Why? Because my beautiful husband takes care of it for me. So he makes sure that the cows and the pigs and the chickens all have water. He gathers the eggs for me. And that has been so helpful I just focus on the cows then. When I am done with all the cow chores, I go inside and I make supper. My goal is to be done with supper, like have supper on the table by 6:30. That hasn't been happening. Unfortunately, just the distractedness that I get outside. I will be doing chores, but then I'm also like trying to do a project, or I'm trying to touch this, or I'm trying to touch that. And that has been like causing a lot of my supper is a lot later. We're eating supper around 7:30, honestly. But the PM routine really just consists of, let's make supper, let's clean up after supper, any toys that we got out today, let's get them put away, let's try and re-pick up the house, let's kind of re-put everything back in order, kind of a reset. I've been trying to use that language with Emerson. Let's do a reset, let's reset for the next day so that we can go through it again. And then we have bath time, we have bedtime, we get ready for bed. And over the winter, we have kind of a distinct time of Emerson's bedtime and Mommy and Daddy's bedtime. In the summer, they kind of all end up at the exact same time. It's very difficult for me to get a child to go to bed when it is still light outside. I should be just stricter about it, but I'm not. And that's okay. So we get ready for bed, and lights are off between 10:30, 9:30, 10:30, between 9:30 and 10:30, I guess, is usually when the lights are off, and then we have our sleep and we do it all over again. Some differences that we run into throughout the day or throughout the week, I should say, is on one day a week, Emerson has a therapy session, and so instead of doing my AM routine of doing stuff inside the house, I'm leaving the house and I am going to town. I am taking him to town, and then we're picking up our groceries. Fridays and Saturdays, Jonathan is home, and so he takes care of Emerson in the morning, and I can get, my morning chores done while he's watching Emerson. We have church on Sundays. So, morning routine of getting up and getting dressed and breakfast and stuff is really short. And then I spend my time doing morning chores, and then we get in the car and we go to church. I change my clothes as fast as I can. We go to church. And so there's some nuances to that. If we have a big project that we're working on, say, we have some fencing that needs to be done, or there's, something outside that just needs some immediate attention. Sometimes my work block will get slid or traded for a different day. Instead of doing my work block on Tuesday, I might do it on Friday instead. So there's some flexibility there where I have grouped projects together and I put them in a block. And then I can kind of shuffle those blocks a little bit if I need to. I can trade those blocks if I need to. Go, well, I've got more time on this day this week. I can put a bigger work block in here instead. And that gives me this perspective on what the rest of the week is going to look like. And it helps me plan out, when do I need to sit down and record that episode? Or, when do I need to sit down and fold the laundry? It never gets folded, but, it is something that crosses my brain from time to time. So those are some things that, as I'm working through it. And then, you're doing all the homesteading things. You are looking for, is something needing repaired? Does something need taken care of? And then you're just not noting it down. But a lot of times those tasks, rather than being this super long to do, is like you can take it and go, oh, well, that's something that needs to be done during this block. And it can kind of be like habit stacked on stuff you already are doing regularly, or it can be just like taken care of in an intentional way. So that's basically my life in a nutshell. It's very much the same, but it's also very different from day to day. And the difference comes in the nuances. And as someone who always thought that I hated routine, or I thought I did, I have really come to love routine. I have come to love being a homebody. I have come to love just having this dependability and this structure that I like doing the same thing every day. But I've also realized that the thing that I disliked, the reason I thought I disliked doing the same thing every day, was because I was literally doing the same thing every day. I worked for 3 months at a nursing home as a cleaner inside the nursing home. Now, I quickly discovered I hated cleaning, so that was the biggest problem with it. But the other thing is that you cleaned the same rooms every day, in the same fashion, in the same order. Like, there was no change. My favorite days was when there was there was one day that a resident knocked over a tray that had water on it and soaked her mattress and whatever. Honestly, I preferred that day, even though it was a high stress environment, because it was something different. It was something different, and I was not sweeping the same floor. With the cows, there are things, and I'm fairly certain that this is the way it is for any homestead, whether you are gardening, whether you are raising a different type of animal from cow. No matter what you're doing when you are homesteading, there are things that are the same. Okay, you need to milk the cows every single day. That is the same. The cow is going to feel a little different every single day. The cow might smell a little bit different depending on what she ate. She might give a little bit different milk. There are going to be things that happen, you get to watch the cats do different things, and you get to watch, your pigs be really stupid sometimes. And each of those things, there's a dependability to it, but there's also this, there's this comfort in routine that I really appreciate. And if you don't like routine, I think that's something to be aware of, and, either embrace it, or how are you going to structure your life different so that you don't have as much routine? But even then, if you don't have any structure, it uses a lot of brain power. And my friends the last few years have been like, Amanda, you're kind of insane. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely am. How do you mean though? And they're like, you just do so much. How do you do so much? How do you keep track of all these things? And one, I take notes. There's that. But also, I have been learning, especially through Chelsea Joe's course, I have been learning that there is dependability in not having to have your brain think about all the things. You feel like you have this mile-long to-do list, and that is especially true on a homestead. You have this mile-long to-do list. But when you can break it down into this happens after this, right? I milk the cows, and then I package the milk, and then I wash the dishes. It has to happen in that order. I cannot wash the dishes first. I have to do it in that order. And you kind of stack these things on top of each other. I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this. right? And you can do that in your kitchen. You can do that in your bathroom. You can do that anywhere in your house, in your home, right? You can even do it in your garden. First, I do a walkthrough. And I pull a couple of big weeds and I look at what needs done. Then I go through and I pick all the vegetables that are ready. And then I go through and I pick one box and I weed it. I pick one row and I weed it. And then I'm done for the day. And I'll come back and I'll do it tomorrow. And there is like dependability there that, well, when I am done with this task, I'm going to go to the garden. In the garden, when I'm done with one task, I'm going to move to the next one. And there's like a system that you follow. But also, you can skip one if you don't need to do it. You can add another one in if you really need to do something extra. Like there's a structure there, and then your brain doesn't have to hold on to as much because it's not having to go, well, what's changing now? That just got into a long rant that might have gotten off topic, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Thanks for sticking by with me. Thanks for staying to the end. I really appreciate you, and I hope that you have a really good week, that you remember that no matter how full your days are, you are allowed to pause, to breathe, and to make space for your purpose and for peace. Share your thoughts or questions with me at connect@simplylivingHomestead.com, and if you think of another homesteading mama that could use this episode, why don't you pass it along? Until next time, keep showing up faithfully in your home, for your family, and yourself. You're doing better than you think. We'll see you next time. Well, neighbor, before you head out, I just want to say how much I've loved spending this time with you. If you too enjoyed our time together, don't forget to give us a follow and leave a quick review on your favorite podcast player. It really helps more women like us find their way to a simpler, more joyful life. And hey, if you know someone who'd enjoy this episode, why not share it with them? Let's keep growing this circle of encouragement together. Oh, and don't forget to join my email list. I've got some free printables and weekly tips waiting for you to help you live a purposeful, balanced life, one rooted right in the heart and home. Thanks for being here, friend. You're doing a great job. I can't wait to chat again next week here at the Simply Living Homestead.